A guy walks into a job interview wearing a $400 diesel chronograph the size of a wall clock. He doesn't get the job. He never finds out why. Because at 30, the rules change. In your 20s, a watch is a fashion accessory. Nobody's really looking. Somewhere around 30, a watch stops being decoration and becomes a signal. Every room you walk into, every handshake, every reach for your coffee, someone across from you is deciding what kind of man you are based on the piece of metal on your wrist. And the men at 30 who get this wrong don't just look cheap, they look like they haven't figured it out yet. Like they're still shopping the way they did when they were 22. 5 watches quietly destroy the impression a man in his 30s is trying to make. 5 watches command respect the moment someone glances at your cuff. Let me show you the difference. Number 5 that makes you look broke, the diesel chronograph. 52 millimeters across, black on black, rubber strap, retails somewhere between $200 and $400, sold at mall department stores next to the sunglasses rack. The diesel chronograph has one job. It has to look expensive from 10 feet away. At 3 feet, it stops working. At 1 foot, it embarrasses whoever is wearing it. Because everyone who actually knows watches has already clocked the pushers that don't push, the tachometer that doesn't measure anything, and the quartz movement that costs the manufacturer roughly $8. The diesel says one thing to the man across from you at dinner. He wanted the watch he saw in a photograph. He didn't know what to look for. He picked the loudest option in the display case. At 30, that reads, Number 4 that makes you look broke, Michael Kors. Michael Kors is a handbag brand. Read that again. Michael Kors is a handbag brand. The watches Michael Kors sells at $250 to $400 are licensed products manufactured by Fossil Group. Same movements as the Fossil watches on the shelf next to them. Same case construction, same quartz architecture, different logo, higher markup. A man in his 30s wearing a Michael Kors watch to a work event is wearing his sister's fashion brand on his wrist. Not because Michael Kors is bad, because Michael Kors is a fashion designer known for women's accessories, and the watch signals that the wearer bought whatever the mall told him to buy without asking a single question. The correct question was, who actually makes this movement? The answer is Fossil. Number 3 that makes you look broke, Fossil. Founded in Richardson, Texas in 1984. Genuine American company. Nothing shady about the brand. The problem is what Fossil watches actually are. Every mainline Fossil watch retails between $100 and $250. Every mainline Fossil watch runs a Japanese quartz movement, either Miyota or their own Fossil-branded module, inside a stamped steel case with a mineral crystal. Total manufacturing cost per unit, under $20. Fossil is honest about what they sell. Their marketing doesn't lie. Their pricing reflects what the watches actually are. Accessible, fashionable, disposable timepieces meant to be replaced every 3 years when the movement dies. The problem for a man in his 30s isn't Fossil itself. It's what wearing a Fossil signals at that stage of life. The Fossil says the wearer hasn't upgraded his thinking about watches since he was 22. The wrist that could be signaling taste is signaling that he still shops at the same mall his father took him to in high school. Nothing wrong with that at 22. At 30, the room reads differently. Number 2, that makes you look broke, MVMT. The Instagram watch that became a case study in overpricing. MVMT was founded in 2013 by 2 college students. They built the brand on Instagram ads, influencer partnerships, minimalist designs that photographed well, prices between $100 and $200. In 2018, MVMT was acquired by Movado Group for $100 million. The Movado acquisition told the industry everything about what MVMT actually was, a Chinese quartz watch with a heavy marketing budget. Same movements available on Alibaba at $8 per unit. Same stamped stainless steel cases as any generic mall brand. Same mineral crystal, same synthetic leather strap. The man wearing an MVMT at 30 is wearing the watch he ordered in college, because the Instagram ad targeted him at 3 in the morning. He never upgraded. The watch on his wrist tells everyone at the meeting that his taste is still the taste of a 19-year-old scrolling on his phone. Number 1 that makes you look broke. Invicta Pro Diver. The Rolex Submariner homage that fooled nobody. Invicta is a Swiss brand founded in 1837 that went bankrupt, was purchased by an American company in 1991, and now operates primarily out of Hollywood, Florida. The Pro Diver is their flagship. Retail price varies wildly, sometimes $500, sometimes $89. The same watch, same case, same movement, same finish. Anyone who has watched a single hour of watch content on YouTube can identify an Invicta Pro Diver from across a room. The proportions are wrong. The bezel doesn't align. The steel takes fingerprints like a display model. The clasp rattles. The man wearing an Invicta at 30 is wearing the watch that watch collectors have made into a meme for a decade. The room isn't just deciding he doesn't know watches. The room is deciding he doesn't know that he doesn't know. That's a harder read to recover from than any of the previous 4. Subscribe if you want to catch the next breakdown. Now let me show you the 5 watches that do the opposite. Number 5 that commands respect. The Orient Kamasu. The dive watch the watch community has been quietly recommending to each other for 6 years. Orient was founded in Tokyo in 1950 and operates as a fully owned subsidiary of Seiko Corporation. Own factory, own movements, own manufacturing. The Kamasu was released in 2019. 41mm steel case, 200-meter water resistance, sapphire crystal, in-house Orient F6922 movement with hand winding and hacking. Retail, under $300. The Kamasu doesn't look expensive from 10 feet. It looks correct from 6 inches. At the meeting, the man wearing an Orient Kamasu gets read exactly once, by the one person at the table who owns watches themselves. That person nods. That person doesn't ask. That person already knows. The Orient Kamasu signals research, not budget, and research is what respect is actually made of. Number 4 that commands respect. The Seiko Presage SARX055. The Japanese dress watch the Swiss industry has been trying to compete with for a decade and quietly can't. Seiko was founded in Tokyo in 1881. The Presage line was launched specifically to build a dress watch that could compete at every price point with Swiss dress watches. SARX055, often called the cocktail time, is the flagship of the line, under $500. Sapphire crystal. Seiko 6R15 in-house automatic movement, 50-hour power reserve, and the killer, Zaratsu, polishing on the case. Japanese mirror polishing technique borrowed directly from Grand Seiko. The same finishing technique used on watches selling for $8,000. At 30, a man wearing a Seiko Presage to a formal dinner is wearing a level of case finishing that the Swiss dress watch on the wrist next to him at 3 times the price cannot match. The Presage says one thing to the collector across the room. This man understands Japanese watchmaking. And Japanese watchmaking is the thing the industry has quietly acknowledged as world-class for the last 30 years, while the general public was still chasing Swiss logos. Number 3 that commands respect. The Christopher Ward C60 Trident. The British direct-to-consumer brand that quietly broke the watch industry's pricing structure. Christopher Ward was founded in 2004 in Maidenhead, England. The pitch was simple: sell Swiss-made watches directly to the customer with no retail middleman, no authorized dealer markup, no luxury boutique on Champs-Élysées. The savings pass directly to the customer. The C60 Trident Pro 300 is a Swiss-made automatic dive watch. Sellita SW200 movement, 600-meter water resistance, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, full Swiss assembly. Retail, around $1,100. A comparable Swiss-made dive watch from a traditional brand with the same specifications retails between $3,500 and $5,000. Same movement supplier, same case construction. Same water resistance, The man in his 30s wearing a Christopher Ward is wearing the same watch spec as a $5,000 Swiss watch because he understood the supply chain. The wrist across from him wearing the Tag Heuer Aquaracer at $4,500 paid for exactly the same movement and exactly the same case. And he paid $3,400 more for a logo. The collector at the table knows this. The collector nods. The Christopher Ward wearer is not the guy who saved money. He's the guy who saw through the marketing. Number 2 that commands respect. The Tudor Black Bay 58. The watch that proved you don't need to buy a Rolex to wear one. Tudor was founded in 1926 by Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, as a separate brand at lower price points using Rolex-grade manufacturing. The Black Bay 58 was released in 2018 and became the watch that defined what accessible luxury actually looks like. 39mm steel case in 316L stainless. In-house manufacture caliber MT5402 movement. COSC chronometer certified. 70-hour power reserve. Built in Geneva alongside Rolex production. Retail, $4,150. A Rolex Submariner with comparable specifications retails at $9,150 at M/B and trades at $15,000 to $20,000 on the gray market because of multi-year wait lists. The Black Bay 58 has no wait list. Same case quality, same movement finishing standard, same brand family. The man wearing a Black Bay 58 at 30 walks into a room and gets read by every collector at the table as the guy who understood that a Submariner is a wait list, a hype tax, and a Rolex crown on the dial. Same watch construction, half the price. The Black Bay 58 doesn't say the wearer couldn't afford a Rolex. It says he understood what a Rolex actually is before he bought one. Number 1 that commands respect. The Grand Seiko Snowflake. The watch that quietly destroys the Swiss watch industry's claim to be the best in the world. Grand Seiko was founded in 1960 as a separate division of Seiko with one explicit directive: build the finest wristwatches in the world. Beat the Swiss at their own game. The Snowflake reference SBGA 211 launched in 2010. The dial is inspired by fresh snow on Mount Iwate, visible from the Shizukuishi studio where the watch is assembled. The finishing on that dial uses hand-applied techniques the Swiss industry has not been able to replicate at any price. The spring drive movement inside is a hybrid mechanical quartz caliber developed by Grand Seiko over 28 years that achieves accuracy of plus or minus 1 second per day. A Rolex Submariner is COSC certified at plus or minus 2 seconds per day. The Snowflake is twice as accurate as the most famous luxury watch in the world. Retail, $6,500. The man wearing a Grand Seiko Snowflake at 30 walks into a room and gets one specific reaction from the one watch collector at the dinner. That collector stops talking mid-sentence, looks at the wrist, and then approaches. Because a Grand Seiko Snowflake at 30 says one thing that no other watch on this list can say. This man does not follow the crowd. The crowd is wearing Rolex. The crowd is on the wait list. The crowd is paying gray market premiums for a watch that keeps time worse than the Japanese watch on this man's wrist. The Snowflake at 30 is what taste at 40 is going to look like 10 years from now. Every collector at the table knows that. The man wearing it just knows it first. The 5 watches that make you look broke share one thing. Every one of them was chosen because the marketing told the buyer what to buy. The Diesel, the Michael Kors, the Fossil, the MVMT, the Invicta. None of these buyers did any research before purchasing. They walked into a store, saw a bottle-sized watch that photographed well under the fluorescent lights, and reached for their wallet. The 5 that command respect share the opposite. Every one of these buyers did the research. They read the forums, they compared movements, they understood the supply chain. They walked into the watch on their wrist as an informed decision. The room can tell the difference, every time. At 30, you don't get another decade to figure this out. The men in your industry who are 10 years ahead of you are already wearing the second list. The men who are 10 years behind you are wearing the first. Choose which room you want to be in. Comment the watch on your wrist right now. We'll tell you whether it commands the respect you thought it did or whether the room has been reading you differently than you realized. Subscribe. Next video coming soon. Some men chase watches, others become the reason other men chase them.